Welcome back to Northwest City Politics in the Know with Juanita. We're so glad that you're joining us again this week. We're always happy for people like you, people that are interested in what's happening in our cities. Because it is important for good government that there be a good exchange of ideas between citizens, between mayors, between council people, between staff. It's important, so we're glad that you are interested in the city's issues. If you haven't watched our show before, each week we'll have somebody on from one of the 9 cities in CCX's viewing area who will fill us in on what are the current and up-and-coming topics and issues for that particular city. So we're going to have Golden Valley tonight, so if you're from Golden Valley, we ask you to take down the phone number and the email, and if an issue that we cover tonight resonates with you, be sure to be in contact. We're very happy to have as a guest Larry Fonnest, who's on the City Council, has been for a little while now.
Juanita, thanks for the invitation. It's good to be back on the show.
Right. And I asked you ahead of time if you would introduce yourself out to our wider audience. Give them a little background information about yourself.
Sure, happy to do it. I'm a resident of Golden Valley, have been for 21 years, and really enjoy the city. It's a great place and has a lot of wonderful amenities. I'm a retired businessman, having sold my business back in 2014. So being on City Council has become something of a full-time job.
Right. You have the time for it, right?
I do, and I enjoy it. I think we're doing a lot of good work for the city of Golden Valley. So yes, that's about it.
And then how long have you lived in Golden Valley?
21 years.
That's a good long time. You've got a good history with the city.
Indeed.
And seen a lot of changes come along the way.
Yes, indeed. And before joining the City Council, I served on the Board of Zoning Appeals. So got my feet wet there and decided to step up and take on the City Council role.
And then I asked you to think about what are some of the questions that you hear from residents in your city, whether they're face-to-face or email or phone. What are the kinds of things that people in Golden Valley are asking you about?
Well, as you know, Juanita, I'm running for re-election to my second term on the City Council, and I've been doing a fair amount of door knocking lately. And when I meet folks at the door, I'm happy to report when I ask the question, do you have a concern for your neighborhood or for the city in general? Most people pause for a moment and they say, I love living here.
That's
so,
good.
I say, yes, we must be doing something right.
Right. No.
But generally it has to do, concerns that is, have to do with traffic.
Okay.
And the speed at which vehicles are moving up and down streets.
Right.
As you know, we have quite a few highways and byways passing through the city of Golden Valley, and I think sometimes folks come off the freeways and they forget that they're on a city street and going through a neighborhood. And so if there were a message to share with folks, it would be slow down, look for children, and be considerate of your neighbors.
Right. Sounds like a good message for all of our cities, right?
Indeed.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about Golden Valley's comprehensive plan and the progress that you're making on it. Now, maybe you could talk a little bit about the Met Council and the cities and the plan and what's part of it.
Sure. Well, the Met Council, as you know, is charged with coordinating the many governments within the greater metropolitan area. And every 10 years, they require that we revise or revamp our comprehensive plan for the city of Golden Valley. And we take,
and all the cities around
and all the cities in the metropolitan area, correct. So we are focused on the future, and we're looking out to the year 2040. And what we're doing is we're taking into account current census data, and then population projections based on our best research, employment growth, and community preferences in terms of how they want to see the city evolve.
Oh, right, right.
And in all of that, we take into account our community assets, business, cultural, civic, and so forth. And we try and envision then what the future might look like and what we need to do to prepare for it.
Right. Yeah, it's a forced planning for the future, right? I'm sure that cities are doing that kind of thing anyway, but this is set in stone. You have to do it.
This is true.
And it's a big project.
It is a very big project. We started working on this in 2016, and we won't finish it until later in 2018.
Yeah.
So yes, and of course it involves a lot of public participation.
Right.
We've had any number of open houses and special meetings to discuss the 7 priority areas that are
maybe
part.
you could tell people about what are the areas that you're actually looking at.
Sure. Well, there are 7 priority areas that we're required to look at or can choose to look at. And I'll just rattle them off here very quickly. Includes land use, housing, resilience and sustainability, water resources, transportation, parks and natural resources, and economic competitiveness. And of course, every city wants to plan for its brightest future, and that is what the city of Golden Valley is doing in all of these 7 categories.
Definitely.
We've held hearings, and those hearings are now, the results of those hearings, I should say, are now being compilated, and we will be getting a rough draft of our comp plan probably in April.
Okay.
And the public will have another chance to weigh in at that time to comment on what they're seeing. And the final product that will eventually go to the Met Council will be produced in the 3rd quarter of next year.
Now, the current comprehensive plan is on your city's website.
Yes.
So if somebody wants to see what's the totality of it, they could see it there.
Yes.
But a lot of people aren't going to be interested in every single area, but this is definitely the time for input if there's some area that's really important to you.
Exactly. And again, the city is always glad to hear from our residents and to collect their comments, which will be incorporated into the end product.
Right.
And I mean, when we talk about residents, we're talking about folks, you know, mom and dad.
Right.
We're talking about business owners. We're talking about our city commissions, including especially our planning commission and our environmental commission, and of course the city council.
Right.
So it's been a very focused and very thorough process, and I'm looking forward to an end product that's going to serve the city well going forward.
And then it is the basis of your development and redevelopment in the future.
It is.
I mean, it has to either A, meet with that, or B, you have some reason why you should deviate from it.
Exactly. We're going to be taking a look at our zoning and any number of other issues around land use, which will, of course, then position us for the future in terms of development and redevelopment in those areas of the city where it can happen.
Right. Yeah, so it is an important undergoing. So we'll highlight it for people and ask them to kind of dip into it and kind of look to see what's involved and if there's something that really concerns them.
Exactly. And then just to remember or to remind, that is, your viewers, that April of 2018 will be a critical time for citizens to step up and
definitely
comment on the draft document, because shortly after that it will become more final.
Right.
Yes.
So you need to get everybody involved in the process that's interested, 'cause
Exactly.
you never have everybody, but.
That's right.
And then if people want updates on what's happening in the comprehensive plan, there is a process to sign up for updates.
Yes, and to your earlier point, you can visit the city's website,
Right.
and there will be updated information there. But if folks want more timely information, or if they have a specific question that they need answered, they can call Jason Zimmerman,
Okay?
our planning manager,
Okay.
at 763-593-8099.
Okay, I'll put his Jason Zimmerman. What did you say his title was?
Planning manager.
Okay. Put that up, because sometimes you don't know what you're looking at, and having somebody you can call
Right.
and say, all right, now what does this mean? And
Exactly.
it's important.
And sometimes the receptionists at the front desk don't know quite where to put you.
Right, right.
Where to direct your call.
All right. Now, something new that's coming into the city, or I think it might be already there, is Schaefer Park. You're getting new equipment there?
Yes, it is in place,
Okay.
and it has been a huge hit
Ah,
with the younger set. It's the first of its type playground equipment in the state of Minnesota.
that sounded interesting. Describe it for us.
Exactly. Well, it's called an outdoor challenge course.
Okay.
And if you think of some of the TV programs that are out there, Ninja
right,
Warriors
right,
and
right.
whatnot, it's something along that line, but on a scale that's appropriate for children.
Ah,
And it involves running, jumping, climbing, crawling. It's amazing. And they do it against a time clock,
aha.
which they control.
Oh,
And so they can compete with themselves,
Right.
or they can compete with a friend or family member. It's a good opportunity for mom and dad to get out there and have some fun with the kids and partake in the challenge.
and a whole different way of looking at a playground, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very unique. And it has another aspect to it that's one of a kind in Minnesota, and that is the fact that it is inclusive to children who have disabilities.
Ah,
And there is a segment of the challenge course
Okay.
that was designed specifically for them. And so children with all different abilities
right.
can partake in this experience and have a great time doing it. And we were very fortunate as a city to have some wonderful partners in this. Three Rivers Park District
Okay.
was a main player. Our own Golden Valley Rotary contributed financially.
Okay.
The Minnesota-Wisconsin Playground Equipment Company built the facility, but they cut us a deal.
Ah, that always helps.
It always helps. And then there's a wonderful organization out of Minnetonka called Paul's Pals.
Okay.
And they donated $35,000
Oh.
towards this inclusive, adaptive
Right.
play area for children. And it's been a real plus,
Oh, yeah.
a real plus. And literally hundreds of children are over there playing on this thing and having the time of their lives.
Oh, yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure that you have a process as a city that you use when determining what playground needs to be updated and how you're going to do that. Maybe you can tell people about that.
Well, we certainly consult with the neighborhoods.
Okay.
And we have, as memory serves me, replaced 6 playgrounds in addition to the one we just spoke of in the last 3 years. And what we do is based on trends and safety concerns for children.
Right.
We analyze our playground equipment, if it's out of date, if it's dangerous, if it needs upgrading, we then consult with the neighbors. We hold a neighborhood meeting, invite mom and dad and the kids to come in, and we present at least 3 or more playground options for them to consider. And it's everything from considering the color to the type of equipment that is included in the playground, and so on and so forth. And the kids get to vote just like mom and dad.
That sounds good.
Yeah, and so we have moved forward on replacing a good many of our playground facilities, and have a few more to go, but we're on a good trend.
It sounds like it. Now, Golden Valley has a community foundation.
We do.
That is separate from the city but helps support the city, right?
That's correct.
Maybe you can tell us, how long has this foundation been in effect? When did it begin?
Okay. Well, the Golden Valley Community Foundation had its origins, if you will, in the Envision process that the city went through.
That was several years ago.
Yeah, back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. The council at that time, under Mayor Loomis, hosted meetings and invited citizens to sit around round tables and discuss share their visions for the future of Golden Valley. And from that experience came the realization that a foundation, a community foundation, would be a good thing to have. And so where the city of Golden Valley may not be able to support an initiative which is beyond the scope of its mission, the community foundation can. And it's a 501c3 nonprofit. So any contributions that they receive from citizens or others are tax deductible. And then using those funds, they have initiated a number of programs which many of our residents are familiar with. The Golden Valley Arts and Music Festival.
Oh, there's a real emphasis in Golden Valley on the arts, right?
Yes, we're very committed to that, and the foundation itself will be leading the charge. And the City Council will be working with them in consort, in partnership, to bring additional art into the community. And as an example of that, we just had the Arts and Music Festival in September. The foundation, that is, was responsible for a 25-year retrospective of photographs that citizens have submitted to the photo contest. And the best of 25 years were on display, as were our new street banners, which citizens contributed to in terms of the artwork, and then the foundation, through an arts panel, made the selections. So citizens can be looking forward to seeing new banners on our streets very soon. In addition to the Arts Festival, the foundation also supports the Golden Valley Pride Festival, the Market in the Valley, Global Golden Valley, and the Sweet Potato Comfort Pie effort.
Well, tell us a little bit about that, because that's one woman's initiative, right?
That's correct. A woman by the name of Rose McGee saw what happened in Charlottesville and was very moved by that unfortunate incident, and brought sweet potato pies that she made down to Charlottesville to share with the church and other members of the community. And from there, it grew into a dialogue within the city of Golden Valley around the Martin Luther King Day celebration on how we as a city can be welcoming and embrace, actually, the notion of diversity within our community. And so Rose has led the charge on that, and we will be doing it again this year in the month of February. So folks who like sweet potato pie and want to get engaged in the community in a meaningful way in terms
Right.
of dialoguing with people who are concerned about this matter, this issue, should watch their emails and the local newspaper.
Right. Well, and your Envision group has an ongoing focus to part of it, right?
Well, the
Where
Envision.
where not everybody, but a number of people meet each year looking for new things that they can do for the city.
Yes, and again, the Envision piece produced, or effort I should say, produced a document.
Right.
Which serves, even to this day, as a roadmap for the city of Golden Valley in terms of moving the city forward on a number of different fronts. It doesn't, Envision doesn't exist as an entity anymore.
Right.
The foundation has really taken over that role.
Oh, okay. Now that I wasn't aware of.
Yes,
Right.
yes. And so the events that I mentioned are just the icing on the
Right.
cake. There are any number of other efforts going on in the city that the foundation is underwriting through its philanthropy.
Now, Golden Valley has a number of commissions where people can volunteer to help the city, but also to be a resource for the city council, right?
Exactly. So I've already mentioned we have the Environmental Commission, the Planning Commission, and I should briefly say that the Environmental Commission looks over, has jurisdiction, if you will, over matters having to do with our forestry programs,
Okay.
and many of our environmental initiatives. Our Planning Commission oversees all new developments within the city of Golden Valley and approves developments and redevelopments, making recommendations,
Right.
of course, to the City Council. Then we have the Board of Zoning Appeals, and they take into account changes that might need to be made on a particular property to allow for a double-wide garage to
right,
be built.
right.
The Board of Zoning Appeals
Okay.
takes into account requests for
Okay.
alterations to existing properties.
Oh, certainly.
So let's say a house has a single garage, but they'd like to have a double, but it gets too close to the property line.
Right.
They take a look at that to see if they can make an exception in that instance. We also have our Civil Service Commission that oversees matters having to do with our employees and the like. One aspect of all of these commissions and boards that I've mentioned is the fact that just recently we have added the teenagers to these boards.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, we just swore in 3 young people this past Tuesday, and they, I think, are going to bring a unique perspective to the deliberations of these commissions and boards. And these young people went through an interview process, and they are sharp as a tack. So we're looking for some very interesting things to come from them, and they will be full voting members, and we're looking forward to seeing what they have to say.
Oh, that's a good forward move on the part of your city.
Exactly.
Now, in order to become a member of one of these commissions, there's an application that they have to fill out?
Yes, that's correct. And the application can be found on our website.
Okay.
It's a fairly simple application indicating a little bit about the person's background, their availability during the week and during the month. Several of our commissions meet more than once a month. And then the individual's asked to indicate which commission or board they are most interested in. It's, again, a simple process to apply. Then as vacancies occur, the City Council performs interviews.
Right.
And from there, we make our selection.
So it is a real valuable place for people to plug in if they can find a place that is goes along with their interests in the city.
Absolutely.
And all of these groups have their minutes and agendas on the website, so that's one way to learn about them.
That's
But
correct.
people can also go to the meetings and see what they do.
That is correct. All meetings in the city of Golden Valley are open to the public,
Right.
and minutes are kept. And oftentimes, especially with the city council and the planning commission, there are videotapes.
Oh,
And so you can
right,
actually
right.
go online and view a previous meeting
Aha.
at your convenience.
And then find out if there's, now people at different points in their life have different amounts of time, right?
Right.
So not everybody's going to be able to do it, but if they have an interest in giving back to their city, this is a real valuable way to do it.
Absolutely. And we're so fortunate to have so many volunteers willing to step up and not only take on the commission and boards
Right.
that we're speaking of here, but the Golden Valley Community Foundation has a very active and
Oh, yeah,
dedicated
another
group
area,
of volunteers as well. And so there's any number of ways that folks can get involved in their community and make a really meaningful
Oh, right.
difference.
Oh, and there's your historical society.
And there's the Historical
Right.
Society as well. Yep, and then all of the events that the foundation itself has taken under its wing all need volunteers as well.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
yeah, if you have an interest in arts and music, in farmers market,
Uh-huh.
or on and on, there's something, I think, for everyone to get involved with.
Oh, I think so. And there are things that can be one-term involvements versus ongoing ones where you decide that you're willing to do it for 2 or 3 years.
Exactly. Yep.
But it is an important part of all our cities.
Yes, and I think an important point to remember, and this is something I certainly
Right.
take to heart, our cities are only as good as the people who live in them and who help to govern them.
Ah, very true.
And having involved citizens who care about their community, care about their government,
Right.
is vitally important to our democracy and to having cities that are livable
Right.
and places that we're happy to call home.
Right.